Have you ever walked into a room because you needed to do something, only to suddenly stop and realize that you have absolutely no idea why you came there in the first place? You stand there for a moment, looking around the room and trying desperately to remember what you were supposed to do. Maybe you even walk back to the exact place where you were before, and suddenly, the answer comes back to you. It's almost as if your brain decided to hide the information from you, only to give it back a few seconds later. But why does this happen? Did your brain actually forget what you wanted to do, or is something much more interesting happening inside your mind? The surprising answer is that your brain may not have completely forgotten anything at all. In many everyday situations, the problem may be that the intention you were holding in your mind has temporarily become harder to access. Think about what happens before you walk into that room. You have a goal in your mind. Maybe you want to get your phone, pick up your keys, or check something on the table. For a moment, that intention is active in your mind. But then something changes. You move to a different place, something catches your attention, or another thought suddenly takes over. And just like that, the original intention can slip out of the spotlight of your attention. To understand what is happening, we need to look at a special kind of memory called prospective memory. Unlike the memories that help you remember something that already happened, prospective memory helps you remember something you intend to do in the future. It's the memory you use when you tell yourself, when I get to the kitchen, I need to pick up my keys, or, when I leave the house, I need to remember to take my bag. In other words, your brain isn't simply remembering the past. It's trying to remember a future action at exactly the right moment. The next piece of the puzzle is working memory. Think of working memory as the mental space you use to hold information temporarily while you're actively thinking or doing something. But this mental space is limited. You can only keep a relatively small amount of information actively available at any one time, and distractions can make it harder to maintain your original intention. So imagine that you're walking to the kitchen to get your phone, but on the way there, you notice a message, hear someone calling your name, and suddenly remember something else you need to do. Your brain now has several competing pieces of information demanding attention, and the reason you walked into the kitchen may no longer be at the front of your mind. Now we arrive at the phenomenon that made this everyday experience so famous, the doorway effect. Researchers have studied whether moving from one environment to another can influence what we remember. The basic idea is that changing locations can act like a boundary between one event and another. Your brain naturally organizes experiences into meaningful segments, and a change in location can sometimes contribute to that mental shift. In some experiments, people showed poorer memory for information after crossing a boundary, compared with remaining in the same environment. But here's the important part, scientists have also found that the effect is not always reliable. Simply walking through a doorway does not automatically erase your memory. Your brain doesn't experience your entire day as one giant, continuous stream of information. Instead, it naturally divides your experiences into separate events. You might think of yourself as sitting at your desk, then walking to the kitchen, then preparing food, and then returning to your desk. Each part of your day has its own context, surroundings, and goals. These boundaries can help your brain organize what is happening. But they can also influence what information is easiest to retrieve. When the environment changes, your brain may shift its attention toward the new situation, and the intention you were carrying from the previous situation can become harder to access. But sometimes, the doorway itself may not be the main reason you forgot. The real problem may be what happened while you were walking. Imagine that you leave your bedroom because you want to get your phone. On the way to the table, you hear a notification. You pick up the phone, see a message, and suddenly start thinking about something completely different. Your original goal has now been interrupted. This is why attention matters so much. The more your mind is pulled from one thing to another, the easier it can become to lose track of what you originally intended to do. Now here's the part that feels almost like magic. Have you ever forgotten why you entered a room, only to remember the moment you walked back out? This can happen because returning to your previous environment may bring back some of the context that was present when you formed the original intention. The sights, sounds, and surroundings can act as retrieval cues, helping you reconnect with the thought that seemed to disappear. In other words, the memory may not have been completely gone. You may simply have needed the right cue to find it again. This is one reason the environment around you can be surprisingly important for memory. The places where you think, learn, and form intentions can become connected with the information you're trying to remember. That's why returning to the place where you had a thought can sometimes help bring that thought back. It's not because the room has magical powers, and it's not because your brain has permanently erased anything. Instead, the environment may provide useful clues that help your brain retrieve information that has temporarily become difficult to access.
Memory is not just about the past. It is about navigating our world with absolute confidence.
If you've ever wondered about something strange about your mind, your body, or the world around you, subscribe to Zana, Beyond Curiosity.